Well, hello and welcome to the Daily Sales Message, where each and every day we're going to provide you with a piece of simple, actionable advice that's going to help you to improve your sales performance and, most importantly, feel more confident too. My name is James Newell. I'm the founder of Clear Sales Message, and I spend my time helping people learn how to sell and focusing on two distinct things. The first thing is having what I call selling confidence, so knowing what to say and what to do and how to behave. And the second one is having a clear sales message, so being able to articulate and communicate your offering so people understand what you're selling and they know why they should buy from you. So in this episode, the very first episode of the Daily Sales Message, we're going to look at one of my most favorite things in the world. It's called the trigger point. So knowing when your buyers need to buy from you. Where is the motivation? Where is the urgency? This is something that's so often missed by a lot of the clients and students that I speak with on a daily basis. We have a good idea, a good understanding of our avatar, this type of company, this type of person, etc. So we often know who we want, but we don't often know when we want them. Now, I often use a very, very simple and, to be quite frank, dangerous example of leaky taps in a house because I record these from my office, which is in my garden. And when I leave here and go back to my house, one day I will have tempted fate too much and there will be a leaky tap in my house. But for now, we'll see what happens. So I use the example of a leaky tap in a house. So if we're taking the ideal client approach, I am the ideal client for a plumber. I've got bathrooms and toilets and sinks, pipework, etc., etc. I'm an ideal client, but I do not need a plumber. The trigger point is what gives me the motivation, the urgency, the incentive to need a plumber. It could be that I'm having a leaky tap or a leaky toilet. Obviously, there's a real time urgency there. Or it could be that I think my boiler's on its way out and I need to consider my options. But either way, there's something happening that's giving me urgency, giving me motivation. And that's what I'd like you to consider today. A couple of things we can do here. First of all, you can look at your existing and past clients, do a little bit of detective work. It's even better if you can just ask them straight up and say, hey, what was going on for you? How did you know you needed me or needed my service or product? Look for those commonalities, do a bit of detective work. That's one way. The second way is to simply guess and use logic. And there's a couple of ways, a couple of things that are going to encourage most buyers to act. The first one could be a date. So it could be a fixed date in the calendar. So 31st of January for tax accountants, for example. There could be a fixed date in the calendar that's going to spur your buyer to need you. It could be an event. So it's something that happens, but there isn't a fixed date. So a baby, a birth, a marriage, a death, a new business, rebranding a website, whatever. But it could be an event, something that is happening. It's not tied to a specific date per se, but it is happening for that person. So we've got a specific date, we've got an event, we've got too much or too little of something. If I have too much rubbish in my house, I'll need a skip company to help me do that. We had some building work done recently. There was quote unquote too much rubbish. So of course we have to have a skip and put the rubbish in the skip. Or you can have too little of something. You have too little sales, you speak to somebody like me to help you. Or if you too little muscle. For example, you'd work with a PT, a coach to help you get more fit and healthy and build muscle on your body. So that's the third one, too much or too little of something. And the final one, and I say final, but there's obviously lots and lots of different nuanced, different motivations and triggers that your buyers may be experiencing. It's hard for me to know what your business is and what you're up to. But the final one here in this example is a feeling or an emotion. So are your buyers feeling a certain way? I don't feel very confident. I don't feel like this. I'm worried about my finances. Okay, well, maybe you should speak to an independent financial advisor. Or I'm feeling not sure about this or embarrassed about my body. I should probably start working out, etc. So those are some of the main triggers that we can consider. A fixed date in the calendar, an event, something that happens, too much or too little of something, or a feeling or an emotion. The ideal here is you look at your existing and past clients, do some detective work, find out what that is, and then once you know the trigger point for your buyer, you can talk to the right people at the right time, and that really does change everything. Well, that's it for another episode of the Daily Sales Message. Thank you for listening. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at where you can look for your buyer, and again, there's a particular piece of information there that we missed that can be very, very useful. Thanks for listening. If you aren't subscribed already, then please do hit that button. And if you found this useful, of course, please leave us a review, a like rating. That's going to help us to reach more people on the podcast platforms. Thanks again for your time. I'll see you tomorrow.